Okay, magandang hapon ulit. So, welcome ulit sa Information Management na course. Ako ulit si Florence Ryan Sotelo, your instructor for Information Management. And ngayon, i-discuss natin yung tinatawag na knowledge management. Okay, yung topic natin today will revolve around how do you manage knowledge, challenges and critical success factors, knowledge management in practice. Okay, ano yung objective natin? Be able to define knowledge management and its relationship to learning processes. Identify natin yung barriers to knowledge management. Identify the critical success factors in managing knowledge and mobilizing knowledge management in your organization. So, paano ba minamanage yung knowledge? One of the problems in trying to define knowledge management is that it is sometimes difficult to see how it differs from information management. So, tanda natin, information management is different from knowledge management. So, yung information management kasi, it uses database systems. Very rigid yung ating form ng data, structure ng data. However, iba yung knowledge management. Pero actually related sila, no? Yung information, it facilitates the development of knowledge. Yung knowledge naman facilitates the creation of new information. Ayan. So, yun yung makita natin sa figure 5.1. Knowledge management is the explicit and systematic management of vital knowledge and its associated processes of creating, gathering, organizing, diffusion, use, and exploitation of knowledge. It requires turning personal knowledge into corporate knowledge that can be widely shared throughout an organization and appropriately applied. So, knowledge management has been described as knowing what you know, knowing what you don't know, and learning what you need to know, then sharing it. So, yung konsepto ng knowledge management grew in the early 1990s, So, kung paano yung mga Japanese companies create knowledge from within the organization, disseminate it, and then embody it into new products and services. So, meron daw ayon kay Nonaka and Takeuchi, meron dalawang klase ng knowledge. Yung tinatawag na explicit knowledge, ito yung knowledge na formal, easily identifiable, and general knowledge. So, for example, mathematical expressions, product specifications, and manuals. So, because they are explicit and obvious, so mabilis i-communicate sa two different individuals. So, explicit knowledge ang tawag dyan. Yung tacit knowledge naman, ito yung personal, difficult to articulate, tinatawag na hidden knowledge. Parang yung mga gut feel, yung alam mo lang siya. Hindi mo may paliwanag, pero alam siya dahil nakasanayan na. It is embedded in the individual's experience and colored by their personal beliefs and value. So, they are still knowledge, yun nga lang, hidden or tacit. Kumbaga, parang given na. These are the two basic building blocks of knowledge creation. The assumption is that knowledge is created through the dynamic interaction between explicit and tacit knowledge. For our organizations to succeed, they need to find ways to make explicit and share the wealth of tacit knowledge that is locked up within individual employees' experience. So, ang nangyayari kasi, lalo na yung mga matatagal na magagaling na empleyado, yung knowledge nila kailangan maibigay sa lahat ng empleyado para pantay-pantay yung quality ng gawa ng mga empleyado. However, yun, ang unang problema, paano mo ma-extract yung knowledge nung matagal na sa company na magaling na employee dun sa iba pang mga empleyado. So, ito sa figure 5.2, the knowledge spiral. So, paano yung tacit magiging explicit? And then from individual, magiging team knowledge, magiging organizational knowledge. Yan. So, yan yung knowledge spiral. Paano na-develop from individual to organizational. So, much of the literature about knowledge management relates to the technology. So, ito daw yung mga pwede natin mabasa. The systems for sharing and exploiting the newly explicit knowledge. However, knowledge management is actually about people in their interaction rather than technology. Through technology that is powerful enabler. So, ang central sa knowledge management, yung tao pa rin. Hindi yung computer. Hindi yung software. So, tingnan pa rin natin yung tao and how they interact with other people. So, knowledge management and learning. An important aspect of knowledge management is the way people and organizations learn and how they approach problem solving. This is a good point to revisit Argyris and Sean's theories in use, the private self-generated theories that govern our behavior. So sabi ni Argyris at ni Sean sa kanilang book noong 1974, they built a model of the processes involved in the theory in practice that has three elements. Number one is governing variables or values, action strategies, and consequences. Yung sinasabing governing values or variables, there are likely to be a number of these, and in any action any action taken is likely to impact on them. Action strategies naman, what people do to keep their governing values within the unacceptable range, and consequences, what happens as a result of an action. Consequences can be intended or unintended. Ayan. So, meron tayong dito sa figure 5.3, yung tinatawag na theory in use model. So, nagsisimula tayo sa governing variable. Ito yung nakasanayan natin, Okay, then action strategy. From action strategy, may ginawa tayo, may enact tayo, then lalabas yung consequence, both the intended and the not intended consequences. And then either babalik tayo sa governing variable or sa action strategy. So Argyris and Sean suggests that there are two responses to this mismatch, which they describe as single loop learning or double loop learning. When something goes wrong, a common response is to look for another strategy that will work better, but still within the framework of existing governing variables or values, the plans, goals, or rules of behavior that we have, that we are familiar with. So, ito yung double loop learning, from consequences, diretso sa governing variable. Double loop learning yan. Single loop learning naman, yung from consequences, balik tayo sa action strategy. Okay, as a concept, knowledge management can involve fundamental rethinking about the value of individual knowledge and how the retention or sharing of knowledge by individuals is perceived and rewarded by the employing organizations. Ano ba yung barriers to knowledge management? So, walang model for the creation and dissemination of knowledge within the organization. You've never done it before, so where do you start? Ayun, walang model, so isang barrier yun. Paano tayo magsisimula? No processes or systems focused on supporting those activities. They weren't part of the original system specifications, so where do they fit in now? So, barriers pa rin, walang proseso at saka sistema. Wala ring measurement to evaluate yung creation and dissemination of knowledge. So, dinescribe ni Bonaventura where there are no existing models on which knowledge creation processes and systems can be based. Management will typically just issue a general call for more learning. So, sabi, mag-aral tayo. Kaso, in improving the absorption of knowledge, yung magiging mas mabilis yung learning. So, pag-aralan mo to, magsisimula ka talaga sa una. Dahil wala tayong proseso, wala tayong structure. This will fail because the organization will not have in place the reporting structures, compensation mechanism, or procedure that are necessary to support it. So, or because they don't understand the knowledge creation and knowledge dissemination process and think it can be managed just like everything else. So, meron tayong tinatawag na 7 C's of communities. So, yun yung context. The community sets the context for knowledge sharing and creation. So, ito yung isa sa mga governing variables. Consensus. Ayan. Members agree on best practices and contribution. Contribution, it means that members know where and how to contribute. Creation, knowledge is created through the interaction of members. Collaboration, members collaborate to build on each other's ideas. Consensus, members agree on best practices and how to take ideas forward. Content, knowledge is captured as reusable content. Capitalization, the organization can exploit new knowledge and best practices. Ayan. So, ito for a community to learn, mas maganda daw maging guide natin tong 7 C's. Knowledge management and practice. Some of the world's most successful companies have adopted a knowledge management approach as the best way to maximize the value of their own knowledge assets and to build good strategic partnership and customer relations. So, yung knowledge, tinuturing ng mga companies as an asset. So, with this daw, yung kanilang paano nakikipag-partner sa ibang mga entities becomes strategic, and ayun nga, yung pati yung customer relations strategic din, meaning malaki yung value sa kung saan pupunta yung company nila. Many of them have been more than ready to share their experiences via documented case studies. Some of these are included in this section. Here we set out some practical stages in getting underway when setting up a knowledge management program. Approaches to knowledge management. Sharing existing knowledge so that organizations don't reinvent the wheel. Ayun. Because the knowledge they need is available but now not known to them. Yun yung kailangan nating laging tandaan. You don't reinvent the wheel. Pagka may problema ka, mahirap itulak, kumbaga mabigat dalhin. Ang solution doon is put a wheel on it para mas mabilis itulak at hindi mo kailangang buhatin yung kung ano man yung problem. However, ang ginagawa kasi ng ibang tao, gumagawa pa sila ng sarili nilang paraan. Parang yung novelty na, uy, may problema, gawa ako ng bago. Hindi ganon. Dapat hanapin mo muna, ano ba yung nag-work na before? Baka naman meron. So, yun, pagka nakuha natin yung ano na ba yung ginawa before and we built on it, we save both time and effort. Plus yung experience ng na-gather nung in-implement yung solution na unang pinropose. So, meron ng kumbaga may guide na tayo kung alin ang dapat gawin, alin ang hindi dapat gawin. So, yun nga, bottom line, do not reinvent the wheel. Just build on the knowledge created by others. Creating new knowledge and converting it to new products, services, and processes, enabling better, faster innovation. Ayan. So, ang knowledge management ay nakakatulong sa innovation. Ah, ayan. So, ang hindi nakalagay dito sa slides natin yung types ng types ng programs na pwedeng makatulong sa atin sa information management. So, merong tinatawag na knowledge base. Ayan. Okay. Meron tinatawag na wikis, yung Wikipedia, no? May sarili tayo dapat Wikipedia sa company wikis. Meron tinatawag na community forum. So ito popular ito sa mga programmer. Pagka programmer ka ng Java, programmer ka ng Python, sigurado merong Python programmers community. So mag-ano ka doon, mag-post ka ng question, then may mag-a-answer sa'yo. Magiging kumbaga makaka-save ka ng time on learning. And then customer portal. Yung customer mo, pwedeng bago tumawag, papuntahin mo muna sa customer portal kasi baka yung kanyang problem ay naando na. Okay. So, sometimes ang problema dito sa knowledge base wikis, community forum at saka customer portal, ang hirap mag-search lalo na kung sobrang dami ng knowledge ang na-share dun sa site or sa community. So doon pumapasok yung tinatawag nating AI powered bots or chatbots. So ito yung sa Facebook chat na popular ngayon. Magta-type ka ng something and then mag-a-answer yung chat pero hindi naman tao yung nag-reply kundi yung yung tinatawag na chatbot. Siya yung maghahanap sa knowledge base, maghahanap sa wiki, community forum or customer portal kung ano yung possible na problem, and kumbaga masosolve na yung yung problem mo by going to the AI powered chatbot. So gumagamit ito ng artificial intelligence to search kung ano yung possible answer sa problem or tanong mo. Okay, so that's it. This is the end of Module 5 on Knowledge Management. So, tingnan natin yung ating mga activities and quizzes. So, kindly answer them para matulungan tayong mag-review for this subject. So, with that, thank you very much.